a diva. I'm a diva. I'm a diva. I'm a diva. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. Na diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler. When he pull up, wanna pop my hood up. Betty better have a six pack in the cooler. Getting money, divas getting money. If you ain't getting money, then you ain't got nothing for me. Tell me something. Where your boss at? So my ladies up in here that like the top wax. I wanna see ya. I like to meet ya. What you said? She ain't no diva.
The Justice Department released a batch of previously unreleased documents from the Epstein files that include notes from FBI interviews with a woman who says she was assaulted by President Trump as a minor. In interviews with the FBI, the woman alleged she was assaulted by Mr. Trump in the 1980s and that she was also a victim of Epstein's. The documents were released after multiple news outlets discovered they were missing from the initial mass release of files. For more, we're joined now by our justice correspondent, Ali Rogan. So, Ali, tell us more about what's in these documents.
Jeff, these documents are known as 302 files. They're summaries of 3 interviews the FBI conducted with this accuser, in which she alleges that Epstein brought her to meet Trump sometime between when she was age 13 and 15. She details in very graphic terms Trump's alleged sexual assault against her and how she fought back. She also says she had 2 additional interactions with Trump, but before she expanded on that any further, she asked if she could go on to another subject. During the last interview with the accuser, the FBI asked if she would be comfortable sharing more about her contacts with Trump. She said at the time that she didn't know what the point would be when there was a strong possibility nothing could be done about it. And it's unclear, Jeff, if there was any additional follow-up after that last interview.
Why weren't these documents initially released?
These 3 summaries are actually part of a set of 4, and that other document was released as part of that initial major tranche we saw in late January. That summary was an interview in which the accuser focused on Epstein and didn't mention Trump. These others, of course, mention the Trump allegations. Reporters caught this discrepancy because descriptions of all 4 summaries of the interviews were included in a list that was given to attorneys for Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. In a statement released on social media, the Department of Justice said the interviews had been incorrectly deemed duplicative and were subsequently published. The DOJ also says that the unredacted versions of the documents will be available for members of Congress to review. But reporters have noted that even still, there are additional documents that remain missing. Independent journalist Roger Sollenberger has been following this.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:16. We're up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page, interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. What you just heard was the Iran away to start a war brigade in epic fury. This duplicative scenario is one that is very disturbing, and it translates to sexual abuse, rape, child trafficking, human trafficking, and the sport of it. And it involves your president. Do you think it's happenstance that these files weren't made available? Today, we're going to dive in. It's a Thursday. And we have a special guest that's going to join us to discuss this topic. This is serious, right? When you are mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Jesus is mentioned in the Bible, I am still trying to understand why he is the commander in sleep. If these were Black men, if we were to look back over the lives of men of color that have been treated for less, Mike Vick was destroyed because of his cruelty to dogs. We are talking about children, women, boys, and I'm sure they're men. Diddy done did the whole perp walk for his lewd activity of paid sex with adults. But your commander in sleep is simply saying the show is over. Meanwhile, around the globe, powerful men are being stripped in high places and held to account, and the chips are falling. But your president, he ran over to Iran and murdered children. They've known the entire time that was a Tomahawk missile from America that seized the lives of 164 children and 14 teachers. And again, no, I'm not reading anything. My recall is strong. And so is our memory. I need you all not to forget. So we're going to dive into the Epstein files. Buckle up for the ride. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey everybody, it's Melody Span Cooper. Over the past 2 weeks, as we covered the services honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, we received an outpouring of calls, messages, and notes from so many of you. Your kind words about our coverage meant more than you know. For generations, this community has trusted WVON to be there for the moments that matter most. Your support, your listening, and your engagement remind us every day why what we do is so important. Thank you for allowing us to serve you, for sharing this historic moment with us, and for continuing to make WVON a place where our community stories, voices, and history are honored. We're Chicago's essential storyteller, and for that, we are truly grateful.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and I'm running for United States Senate. For 7 years, I've worked with Governor J.B. Pritzker to raise the minimum wage, pass strong gun safety laws, make healthcare more affordable, and create thousands of jobs. I'll go to Washington and continue that work. You deserve a senator who will go to the mat fighting for you. I am that fighter. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Juliana for Illinois.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to way over 400 million here. Yeah, giving money back. How about that? People in Bellwood got 10 million, Broadview 6 million, Burnham 3 million, South Holland 17 million. The city of Chicago's up to $190 million that we have given back to African Americans. Who does that? Nobody does that but WVON.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
A brand new year is the perfect time to set new goals, like letting your money make more money for you. Your financial future can start growing today. This is Hiram Malone, Vice President and Community President of United Fidelity Bank. Right now, we're offering a competitive 6-month CD term with a 4.20% annual percentage yield. That's a smart, secure way to make your money grow for you. Come and see my team today to open your high-yield United Fidelity CD at our Chicago flagship branch at 1701 West 87th Street.
At United Fidelity Bank, we're not a big box bank. We're your neighbors, a team dedicated to exceptional customer service and personalized financial solutions tailored to your goals. Bank with us and get the experience you need and the service you deserve. Start earning more with United Fidelity Bank. Online, visit UnitedFidelity.com.
Rates are subject to change at any time. CDs renew automatically to a standard rate in effect at the time of renewal unless instructed otherwise. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Richard Boykin, and I want to be your next congressman in the 7th Congressional District. I have a sense of urgency. Now is the time to reverse the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP benefits. Now is the time to extend the Obamacare subsidies. Now is the time to close the life expectancy gap and other healthcare disparities. Now is the time to close the wealth disparity. Now is the time to close the achievement gap. Now is the time to protect Social Security for our senior citizens. Now is the time to pass a constitutional amendment recognizing healthcare as a right. Now is the time to make housing more affordable. Now is the time to fight. Punch 39. Richard Boykin for Congress. Paid for and authorized by Richard Boykin for Congress.
WVON traffic and weather now.
We're beginning to see traffic thin out along the inbound Ryan down to 25 minutes from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound just fine. Much quieter along the Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, pretty close to the posted speed limit at this time. A big improvement along DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You're down to 16 minutes from 67th Street to Jackson. That trip from Hollywood to Monroe, 18. Still heavy, though, right around the Oak Street curve. If you're on the Stevenson, you're looking at 50 minutes in from I-355 to the drive. Outbound just fine. The inbound side of the Eisenhower, though, extremely heavy. You're looking at an hour 5 from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. You want to factor in another accident now blocking the left lane at Austin. Outbound, just about a 40-minute trip. The Kennedy, big improvement, 45 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, you'll need 30 minutes. Turning sunny and pleasant today as temperatures expected to climb into the upper 40s. 47 is the official daytime high. The National Weather Service says, though, tonight back down to around 29. We're up to 35 at O'Hare, it's 35 in Lawndale, and 34 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. It's a Thursday, guys. And listen, I see you all on the chat. Good morning to everyone. The time is 9:26, and we are diving into the Epstein files. I got a 13-year-old victim that comes back from the 80s. So I am literally trying to understand, how does this man, this individual, because he's not a man. When I speak of men, I think of decency. How does an individual act as a predator for decades and go unseen? I guess the whole wall is going to come down. Pam Bondi said the entire system will implode. I guess she's right, because they've been holding hands for decades to keep this thing on a loose in terms of the cannibalistic, sadistic, and vile predatory behavior amongst these people that identify as male, that has fed upon women, children, and boys. I'm going straight to the phone line, 773-591-1690. Let's talk to Cliff. Cliff, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, Grand Rising, Sister Cleopatra, and thank you so much for taking my call. And listen, you're right on point. And can I be honest with you? I'm going to say that, you know what, Cleopatra, it's not just Trump and Republicans, it's Democrats as well. And I'm going to say this, and it might be offensive to some people. I believe Bill Clinton's in there, and he's involved. And I'm saying that to say this is that, you know, and I still can't get out of my mind as we post-funeral the comments made by Jesse Jackson regarding Clinton, Obama, and Joe Biden. These are Democrats. So, and finally, I would say this, to add a positive note, let me give a shout out and much respect to Reverend Jeremiah Wright. No question. If you could do this for me, Cleopatra, I promise I won't bother you for the rest of the week. There's a clip, and if you can play that, it is so relative to even what's happening right now. It's a sermon is called, excuse my expression, God Damn America. And it's right on this page. It's about maybe 30 seconds. If you could do that for me, you won't hear nothing else from me for the rest of the week.
I don't know if I can function if I can't hear from you, Cliff, but I will definitely find the clip. I will find the clip because I spent a little time with pastor, right? Pastor who was emeritus pastor of Trinity, and now my pastor is Moss. And I just thank God for the little time that I had with him. It was such a joy. So I will. Good call. Let's talk to.
You're the best.
Absolutely. Let's talk to Keith. Keith, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Mrs. Draper. This is Cleopatra Draper, and thank you and your team for the forum and giving me a chance to speak in it. The military said, "Oops, we made a mistake. Sorry," killing those girls in Iran. So, can we expand the dishonorable felons adjectives to felon, liar, pedophile, sleep, meetinger? Okay, help me out with that one. And finally, murderer. Vote better, America. Good day.
A good day it is. So listen, I want Chris and Mike to hold tight. I see you all in the chat. I'm up against a break, but when we come back, I got a very special guest that's going to dive into the Epstein files with me. He wrote an explosive article. You don't want to miss this.
Turning sunny and pleasant today as temperatures climb in the upper 40s. Good morning. I'm Annette Flurnoy, and here's what's happening. An Illinois lawmaker wants to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. State Representative Cam Buckner introduced a proposal yesterday as House Bill 5726. It would rename the section of the Ryan from 95th Street to 47th Street Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Memorial Highway. Buckner says it's appropriate because originally the Ryan was a racial dividing line in the city and that the Reverend dedicated his life to equality. The civil rights icon passed away last month. He was 84. Governor Pritzker is on his way to join crews to assess storm damage in Kankakee County. The National Weather Service confirmed that one of the twisters that touched down in Illinois and Lake Village, Indiana, was an EF3 tornado with peak winds of around 150 miles per hour. 2 people died in Indiana, a husband and wife, both in their 80s. The Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to end the temporary protected status for roughly 350,000 Haitians now living in the U.S. The administration put in an emergency request to the Supreme Court on Wednesday. The Justice Department has also asked to end temporary protected status designations for Syrians. Well, earlier this week, former President Barack Obama made it official and announced that the Obama Presidential Center will open this summer to mark the Juneteenth holiday. They're now looking for ambassadors to serve. Perry Williams explains.
Nearly 100 ambassadors will be designated to interact with the public. The opening ceremony is scheduled for June 18th, and the Obama Center will be open to the public on June 19th. So far, 170 people have been hired and expect to start training for their assignments next week. For more information about volunteer opportunities, go to obama.org/volunteer/. I'm Perry Williams.
The state of Illinois is unveiling a new program that provides eligible first-time homebuyers with up to $15,000 in a down payment. The money could also go toward the closing cost. The program is called IHDA Access Home. Eligibility includes the borrower's credit profile, household income, and the price of the home. Potential homebuyers must complete a pre-purchase counseling session. For more information, you can go to Illinois Housing Development Authority website. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 9:33.
This is Commissioner Larry Rogers, here to tell you about my friend Judge Michael Cabanargi. For years, I worked side by side with Michael to fix our property tax system and protect homeowners. We can trust Judge Michael Cabanargi. That's why he is endorsed by the Democratic Party and has the highest bar rankings in the race. Judge Cabanargi is the only candidate with judicial experience, and he deserves our vote on March 17th.
Paid for by Friends of Cabanargi.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray, your new favorite part of the day.
Tune in 3 to 6 Monday through Thursday on WVON 1690 AM. We ask the questions you're thinking.
And the ones you're afraid to ask.
The afternoon show, only on WVON.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m., host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance, and they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
This report is sponsored by Staples. Staples has hundreds of great ways to boost your brand, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through April 18th and save up to $125 on all your custom prints. Staples. That was easy.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still monitoring that situation in University Park. Apparently there's an accident involving injuries at Black Hawk Drive at University Parkway. You want to avoid that area if at all possible. Taking a look at your travel times, the Ryan recovering nicely from the early morning rush. We're down to just about 20 minutes from 95th Street to downtown. Outbound just fine. Light traffic for now along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive each way. The Stevenson End from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 15 minutes. Outbound just fine. The inbound side of the Eisenhower still pretty heavy. You're looking at an hour 5 from Thorndale to the Burn Circle. You want to factor in an accident still in play, blocking the left lane at Austin. Outbound, 40 minutes. The Kennedy 45 from O'Hare to downtown, 30 getting to the airport. Turning sunny and pleasant today as temperatures climb into the upper 40s. The National Weather Service says we could reach as high as 47. However, back down to 29 tonight. Currently it's 35 at Midway, 35 in Lawndale, and 35 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:37. And listen, guys, it's a Thursday. And we have been through a tsunami of hail, snow, rain, tornadoes flicking through Kankakee. And still we stand. And we done ran all the way. I ran to start a war to not talk about these Epstein files. I've promised you, Epstein has been the most talkative dead man down my timeline. I've never seen anything like this. In fact, I had the privilege to indulge Ari Melber last night as he walked us through the death, potentially the murder of Jeffrey Epstein in prison and how all of that's not adding up. The conspiracy thickens as it percolates. The heat is so intense. And I am taking you all the way back to the early 80s Cocaine was on the scene, and white boys with money were linking up, and the sport of their appetite was raping children. Make it make sense. So how is it that we're here in 2026? This was not Trump's first rodeo out the gate for presidency. So this information has been withheld for decades. And his first rise to power, and they still allowed him to rise. How do you do that unless the implications is wide and far? Because if you take me, you got to take them all. A 13-year-old went to the Federal Bureau of Investigations as she was a young adult to attest to the brutality and the treatment when she was between the ages of 13 to 15. So this went on for a period of time. Now, juxtaposed to this, I am going to bring up R. Kelly. Because the number one thing that I distinctly recall is folks asking, where were their parents? All of these children that were trafficked, who was caring for them? And why didn't they care about them? It's as though they were sold. And this behavior was okayed by administration after administration and said entity. This was whoever was the president, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And when you have these serious allegations, how did Trump get to live his life out loud and proud as a predator who rode with Epstein for years? Make it make sense on the Cleopatra Show. And he is still being protected. I can't even fathom to call Pam Bondi a woman. I refuse. I refuse. Because any woman with decency, no matter your color, how do you not cringe at the idea of beating? Trump allegedly punched her in her head because she would not perform oral activity on him and still brutally assaulted her. This is documented. How could the Dow, as dumb as Pam Bondi sound, how could the Dow be more important than these Epstein files? Isn't that what MAGA was hunting for? They wasn't out here hunting for rabbits. I'm going straight to the phone lines. Let's talk to Chris. Chris, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Ms. Draper, good morning. How are you?
I'm on fire, Chris. I'm well. How are you?
Good information over to the family. Shout out to the WVON family. Love, prayers to Reverend Jackson and family. What I will say this, we know that Epstein got a sweetheart deal back in the day when Bondi was the attorney general, and Alex Acosta gave him the deal where Epstein could check out and go to the crib. I think it was on the weekend. So this predates, her current position. So we need to look at that. And they blame Biden, they blame Obama, but this was back in the day before that. And in the present, the current pedodent said when he was running for president, said they were going to release the files. Bondi said he was in the files. He had the client list. And Ms. Harris said in August, I think it was 2024, she predicted everything about the war. She predicted about the economy. So the people voted for the pedodent to become less healthy and more poor. And where's your $2 or $1.99 gas today? And then, so we can say R. Kelly's guilty. We can say others are guilty of sexual assault, but this person gets the benefit of the doubt, even though there's so much empirical data and evidence. So we just sweep that under the rug, and the people who voted for him, the Bible thumpers. And I heard Brother Patat say the other day that, white boys always been kind of, freaky or whatever. So does that excuse it where there's children, alleged to have been assaulted, and Paula Jones was an adult, and I think Monica Lewinsky was an adult, so they could consent if they wanted to do something, not small children who cannot consent. And him and Epstein went way back. So you're telling me you didn't know what your friend was doing? And then on Billy Bush, when he said, he just walks up to women, grabs them by the lower region, throw gum in his mouth and kisses them, So basically he is running scared. And they were supposed to produce the documents, I think, back in November with the court order. What are they hiding? Oh, we got to have some more issues. We got to have Venezuela. Oh, to cover up for the Epstein. We got to have the war in Iran. They've been a week away from having nuclear weapons since 1981. So I guess, the ICE raids. Now, they said they're going to get away.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get away from the ICE raids for the midterms and the unaffordability because they're getting slammed. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Thank you, Cleopatra.
Absolutely. Chris is always on par. I mean, in other words, it's a laundry list. It is a laundry list that is chaotic. They cannot even come to a consensus as to why we're at war. I just told you, America murdered 164 children, girls. And you know why? Because they had data that was 10 years dated. So with the destruction and murder and mayhem and all of these big words that Hegseth want to use when he's sober, ultimately you're going to war with data that is 10 years ago. How embarrassing, and you will send America's children, but not yours. So I thought about that. And I looked across the pond. Them boys suited and booted, especially that one that's married to Meghan Markle. Harry fought in a couple wars. Harry was about that life. Well, no punk in Harry. If you believe in your country, will you fight for it? And that's why they started the Draft Baron Trump website, hashtag. Like, come on, Bone Spurs. But you're not serious. But you are seriously going to bankrupt America. And folk, you're going to wake up sicker and poorer. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Pam. Pam, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Cleopatra, you're right on it. Let me just say my opinion, not yours. My statement, not yours. There are some people that are okay with raping children, having sex with children. And let's just be real about that. And for me, and I know this may be your spouses, your relatives, your co-workers, associates, whatever. If you voted for Trump, then you need to ask yourself, do I fit in that category? And then why do I say that? Even in the instance with R. Kelly, the girl that he raped and, just degraded her body, she has a book out. And there were people who knew about R. Kelly, trolling for little girls and raping little girls, and they went along with it. So with Epstein and Trump, you just magnify that to the billionaires and millionaires. Just recently, Cleopatra, they talked about a network of doctors, and which makes sense because when you traffic all these girls, you're talking about urinary tract infections, gonorrhea, all kinds, and there are emails pertaining to that. So what we know, this war is about, if not money, then it's about the cover up of Epstein. And I'm kind of confused about the data of bombing the girls was about 10 years old because Cleopatra, President Obama, as well as the rest of the world, they were monitoring facilities and locations. So it seems to me that data should have been updated because you had actually monitors going in designating where there were certain facilities. So I'm not even going to buy that. But here, my last statement is on this. Trump is a rapist. And when you get your maggot callers in, ask them, why are they okay with that?
Good
Don't
call.
deflect and try to talk about Clinton or someone else. We're talking about this lowlife who is raping children. They are still doing it. Why is that okay with MAGA but more specifically, black maggots. Why is that okay? That's what I want to know.
All
and
right.
on top of everything, go out and vote. It's a beautiful day to early vote. Let's make sure we get out there and vote and get the right people in office who are not sexual predators.
Good job. Good job. And great call. Listen, guys, we're going to continue this discussion. I think it's serious. You know, and for the deflectors, when we come back, I want to talk about that because I'm glad some folk don't call this show. I thank God for it. Not just to protect my pressure, but keep my peace. See, this show is not for foolishness, right? So when we're having our class and we're in session, it's not for and against anything or anybody. It's to have the thought-provoking discussion to make you think. It's not to be, well, such and such. That's like if I send my son to school and the teacher tell me he was talking. Now, clearly he could have been talking to himself, but you were talking to somebody. But you think I'm worried about the somebody you were talking to, or am I worried about you, my son, right? So ultimately, I am worried about the man that is the commander-in-chief of the free world. Are you? We'll be back after this break.
Every month, WVON celebrates the women who refuse to be silenced. This is Women Who Roar.
Speed has a sound. It's the sharp cut of steel on ice, the rush of wind, the quiet focus of an athlete chasing history. Erin Jackson knows that sound well. A former inline skating champion turned Olympic speed skater, Jackson made history as the first Black woman to win Olympic gold in long track speed skating. But her journey to the top wasn't paved with decades of tradition. It was built with relentless discipline, courage, and belief. In a sport where few faces looked like hers, she didn't slow down. She accelerated. Every lap, every race, every finish line sends a message to young athletes watching from the sidelines. The ice belongs to them too. Her roar is velocity. It's determination. It's history in motion. Erin Jackson doesn't just race the clock. She changes the pace of possibility. Erin Jackson is a woman who roars.
From boardrooms to block clubs, these are the Women Who Roar, an exclusive feature on WVON.
Hello, this is Congressman Danny Davis, and I want to tell you why I'm supporting Tony Preckwinkle for Cook County Board President. When Donald Trump targeted our community and deployed mass ICE agents onto our streets, Tony fought back, barring ICE from county buildings, especially our hospitals, and with Governor Pritzker, defeated Trump in court. Tony has also taken on the financial pressure facing our families. She led the effort to eliminate medical debt in Cook County, work that has now erased $1.5 billion for our residents. For 15 years, she's balanced the county budget without raising property taxes, expanded health care to more than 400,000 people through county care, and invested hundreds of millions of dollars in community safety and small business. That's why I'm with Tony. I'm Congressman Danny Davis. Join me, Governor Pritzker, and so many others across Cook County in supporting Tony Preckwinkle for County Board President.
Paid for by Preckwinkle for President.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-295-6576. 800-295-6576.
Greetings, WVON family. It's your brother and friend, Bomani Obadelli.
And your boy, Malcolm Wings.
Join us on Sunday evenings for a new exciting show. The Streets Are Talking.
We're going to bring you politics, finance, and all the things that matter to you.
It's all about the community.
And the money.
Sunday nights on WVON won't be the same.
It's going to be live. Check us out.
Every Sunday evening at 6 p.m., The Streets Are Talking.
I am attorney Tiffany Brooks, candidate for Cook County Judge of the First Judicial Subcircuit, and I need your vote. A lifelong resident of the South Side of Chicago, I continue to be a 25-year dedicated public servant with over 15 years practicing law before the Illinois State Courts and licensed before the U.S. Supreme Court. A member of various bar associations across the state of Illinois, I firmly believe that when appearing before the court, all people should be treated with dignity and respect, ensuring fair and impartial justice. A strong advocate of providing free legal services to underserved communities, standing in the legacy of the great judge, R. Eugene Pincham, who said, "You can't be what ain't seen." I need to be judged so our girls and all youth see women like me as they envision themselves and dream of all they can be. I order each day in the spirit of Judge Pincham's 3 P's for success: preparation, perseverance, and prayer. And that's what you can expect from me, justly serving the First Judicial Subcircuit. Please vote Attorney Tiffany Brooks for Judge. Punch 145.
This message is approved by Attorney Tiffany Brooks, candidate for Judge of the First Judicial Subcircuit.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:54, and we are talking about predators. And right now, you have a predator in that black house, often referred to as the White House. The only thing white about it is the walls, but it's the house that our people built. And why aren't we having a conversation around the globe? Because I have watched Mexico, I'm watching Italy, I'm watching everybody have this global conversation. And the disturbing response to purge the predators out of these high places, with the exception of America. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Darva. Darva, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
God bless you. I just want to say this to everybody in the whole wide world. God is about to do what he's going to do. Because, see, this is not nothing new. But we, as a black people, right here in the city of Chicago, county of Cook, state of Illinois, have more predators in this city right here, in this state, in this county. I am upset because we're talking about something that those people are used to doing. But right here, why don't we go after the people that's right here? Let's start in our own town and make sure we do what we got to do for our children that are going through the same things that everybody is talking about. Jail, hell, and prison cell is about to be open because we got people right here, people in every entity that are doing the same thing. I can name 1,000 young people that are now adults and 1,000 that's right here that's still going through what we're talking about with other people. But why we can't talk about what we're going to do about the ones that's right here in this city, this state, and this top county right now?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I'm with you, Darva. Good call. I mean, it's a lot of things all happening at once. And it's not a either or. It is all things. And if you are a believer, you can do all things through Christ, right? But humanly, as we are just in flesh, we have to call out what is wrong and what is righteous. Evangelicals, under the sound of my voice, where are you? Or do you support pedophilia? The question is very clear. If Joe Rogan is calling out the foolishness, I'm watching some true MAGA folk, but then I still see black MAGAs. Well, what about son? Well, used to bees don't make no honey. You can go after those other people, but they're not the leader of the free world, and it's not to excuse nothing. I'm just leaning in on what's right in front of me, and what's right in front of me is very disturbing. I would like to talk to Pat. Pat, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Thank you so very, very much for bringing this topic up today. I remember when this woman criminally charged Trump first, some 20 years ago. And he sent his goons to her to threaten her and her family unless she removed those charges, which she did. But I am so glad that she remains steadfast and that she recharged him again. I am so glad that this woman remained consistent. But what I want to see Trump in an orange jumpsuit. I want to see him behind bars in an orange jumpsuit, because in prison, prisoners, especially men prisoners, hate pedophiles. They really dislike them. So I want him to be put in prison in one of the lowest, maybe in Alabama somewhere, and let those prisoners get at him. But I'm so glad that she stayed on topic. And thank you so much for bringing this topic to us again some 20 years later after all of this happened to this woman. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. The cruelty, right? We're going all the way back. Like I said, I've watched America prosecute Michael Vick more harshly, more disturbingly for the brutality of dogs than we are to hunt down these people that have harmed children. Harm in a vicious and vile way with sexual exploitation, rape, and assault. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. And then folk will say, well, it wasn't my kid. Well, at some point, do you look at humanity in totality and realize this wickedness in high places impacts and permeates and infects us all? You may not be touched today, but my God, somebody and somewhere and somehow, someone you love. And is that what you're waiting for? Is that the shoe that needs to drop? No, you can miss me with it, because I see you. You can run away to Guantanamo Bay and it's not going away. This is a sport of wealth and means and access that were exploiting the least of these. But I've told you all, the richest men in the world are killing the poorest children of the world. So this carnage is stacking up. We'll be back after this break.
The National Weather Service says you're in store for lots of sunshine today, turning mild as temperatures climb near 47 on this Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I'm Anna Flournoy, and in the headlines, an Illinois legislator is proposing a bill to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse L. Jackson. Governor Pritzker is on his way to join local officials and crews to assess storm damage in Kankakee County. And the Obama Foundation is inviting locals to sign up as volunteers ahead of the official Juneteenth opening. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's social media platform, WVON 1690 AM Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:01.
Here's BIN News Now. Longtime Congressman Benny Thompson has won Mississippi's Democratic primary, easily defeating Black 34-year-old challenger Evan Turnage.
I'm running for Congress because I am done waiting for Washington politicians to fix what they've broken.
The 78-year-old is now poised to secure his 18th term in the safely Democratic 2nd District. Human Rights Watch says armed drones used by Haitian security forces and private contractors killed at least 1,200 people and injured more than 700 between March 2025 and January 2026. The UN Human Rights Chief says the force used against gangs likely violates international law. And Netflix is giving a first look at its new series, Man on Fire, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as former Special Forces mercenary John Creasy. The show follows Creasy's fight with PTSD. Man on Fire premieres April 30th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Terry McCready.
Outdated intelligence is believed to be the reason why the U.S. military mistakenly struck an elementary school in Iran.
We've knocked out their Navy, their military in all forms. We've knocked out just about everything there is, including their leadership. Twice. We knocked out twice their leadership.
According to a preliminary investigation by the Pentagon, the military relied on old data that misidentified the school as part of an adjacent Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps naval base. The outdated information was provided by the Defense Intelligence Agency to U.S. Central Command officers. The strike resulted in the deaths of at least 168 children and 14 teachers, as well as sparked widespread concern and criticism. The FBI has reportedly warned California police about Iran targeting the West Coast to retaliate for U.S. attacks on the country. That's according to ABC News, which cited an alert it reviewed. The alert issued at the end of last month said the FBI had information about Iran wanting to launch unmanned drones in a surprise attack in the event of U.S. strikes. It went on to say the threat was specifically against unspecified targets in California. The warning was issued just as the U.S. and Israel launched their strikes on Iran. Meanwhile, senators from both sides of the aisle and witnesses sounding the alarm over the national debt during a Senate Finance Subcommittee hearing yesterday. The concern is for future generations of Americans paying the price for bloated budgets. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projected last month the federal budget deficit will balloon from $1.9 trillion this year to over $3 trillion by 2036. CBO projections are that the deficit will be 5.8% of the country's gross domestic product this year. The Black former mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is running as a Republican in Georgia for Fulton County Commissioner. Tiffany Henyard is vying to represent southern portions of the county in District 5, and there are 4 Democratic opponents.
I do not like dictatorship. I do not like a hostile takeover.
Henyard sounding off after losing the caucus for Thornton Township Supervisor 2 years ago. She was the first woman to serve as mayor of the Chicago suburb and first woman to serve as supervisor there. Her mayoral term was mainly under a dark cloud, and she faced constant scrutiny. A financial probe uncovered the municipality's bank account was over $3.5 million short. She isn't facing any charges currently, but remains under federal investigation for mishandling taxpayer dollars as Thornton Township Supervisor. Her campaign in the Peach State could be a flash in the pan, as county records show she hasn't lived there in over a year, which is a requirement for candidacy. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
This is Commissioner Larry Rogers, here to tell you about my friend, Judge Michael Cabanargi. For years, I worked side by side with Michael to fix our property tax system and protect homeowners. We can trust Judge Michael Cabanargi. That's why he is endorsed by the Democratic Party and has the highest bar rankings in the race. Judge Cabanargi is the only candidate with judicial experience, and he deserves our vote on March 17th.
Paid for by Friends of Cabanargi.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Tell everybody, Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
The movement for repair is growing, from city halls to parliaments and around the world, from Chicago to Cape Town, from Evanston to the UN. I'm Robin Rousseau.
And I'm Cam Howard. Together we're bringing you Reparations Now, where we talk power,
policy and progress, local, national, and international.
It's about justice.
It's about repair. It's about time.
Reparations now, because justice cannot wait.
Reparations Now, Saturdays at 4 p.m. only on WVON 1690.
This report is brought to you by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart. Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is here to satisfy morning cravings with its warm, sweet cinnamon sugar rolled dough, ooey gooey texture, and signature cream cheese frosting. Get the best part in every bite this morning with Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart, only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Voting is power, and power doesn't wait in line. Early voting is underway in all 50 wards throughout Chicago and throughout Cook County. WVON votes.
WVON traffic and weather now.
If you're heading out, you'll probably make it on time. Pretty light traffic on the roadways at this time. That inbound trip along the Ryan from 95th Street to downtown down to 20 minutes. Outbound just fine. Light traffic along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive each way. The Stevenson up, big improvement down to 35 minutes from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound just fine. The Eisenhower, much better. 45 minutes from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, that outbound trip will take you 30. The Kennedy, not too bad. Heavy in spots, though. A 35-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown, 30 to the airport. We're in store for a pleasant day in Chicago. Temperatures climbing near 50, 47 is the official high, and turning sunny today. The National Weather Service says a lot colder tonight as temperatures dip back down into the upper 20s. Currently, it is 36 at Midway, 36 in Lawndale, and 36 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Back to reality, back to life, back to reality, back to life, back to reality, back to the here and now, yeah. Show me how to decide what you want from me. Tell me maybe I could be there for you. However you want me, however you need me, however you want me, however you need me, however you want me, however you need me.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:10, and it's a Thursday, guys. And we're going there, right? So let's give you a prelude for the remainder of the show. Because we were waiting on Mark Slapinski. Slapinski, ain't that something? He wrote an explosive article, but, you know, we can hold our own here at the Cleopatra Show regarding the topic of the Epstein files. He's the most talkative dead man down my timeline, and I make no mistake about it. There is something there. But the real deal is, where are the people screaming about, oh my God, this is happening, that is happening. It is undeniable the ramifications of Trump 2.0. Congress just pretty much sitting ducks. And this is a Republican leadership. Across the spectrum, they have the wheels of power. And ultimately, I am going to have the conversation regarding the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is some serious allegations. And the sheer audacity right before our eyes. All of these things are happening at once. You pull up at the gas pump, it's went up exponentially in the past 2 weeks. All because we're not doing the thing that MAGA wanted. The Epstein files have been released. And as he is bold and audacious, he's saying, okay, on to the next. How is this possible? America held Mike Vick to the cross for less. And I have 2 dogs, just to let you know. I'm a dog lover. I love animals. So I'm not saying that their lives don't matter too. But in comparison to us protecting the most vulnerable children, these aren't allegations. There's a there. And all I keep seeing is powerful, wealthy Caucasian men that found this to be a sport of hunting children as opposed to rabbits. I need you all to hear that. This is disturbing. Because if you're doing it to this level, to a point where you go to a remote island, Pam is right. One of the allegations, Bill Gates brought home a package. The gift that kept on giving until he found the medicine to cure it. He took home a sexually transmitted disease from the activity. So this is a widespread sport where you do have doctors involved, you have transporters involved. No different than Diddy, who bought the sex workers. So who trafficked the women and children? Who cooked for them? Who drove the boat that brought them from the remote island? Who flew the plane? You didn't do this in a vacuum. It took an entire operation. And for years, we're dialing back to the 80s. This has gone untouched. How is that possible? And I don't want to hear because he's orange or Caucasian. No, this is deeper than that. There's something seriously wrong in this country. And Black America will say, well, we know that. But the world is watching in real time to what Black folks have testified to since our unwanted arrival. And what do you say to that? So I still will have people will find the slither, the one hair on his head to say, well, at least this hair is good. It sounds so stupid to me that I cannot give the energy to process what is wrong with you. Because it is a lot wrong in this moment. And I don't want to point fingers to yesteryear. If Clinton is in the files, and it ain't no if, he is, and they've had him to testify behind a closed door session. They've had Hillary Clinton to testify behind a closed door session, which is now made public for 8 hours. But the 2 people that spent time, kicked the bobos on the island, on the plane, at the parties, is your first lady and your president, whom have yet to have a deposition. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Greg. Greg, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, Cleopatra. It's been a long time since I called in and spoke to you.
Good morning. And I'm glad you're calling.
Yeah, good. I don't want to make people feel hopeless, but I want to show you how monumental this problem is. I would like to remind people that every law enforcement agency in this country, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Federations of Sheriffs, the Fraternal Order of Police, all endorsed this man, this 34-time convicted felon, for the presidency of the United States. Without conscience, they walked into a booth and metaphorically pulled a lever for this felon with this cloud hanging over his head. So you want to know why this runs so deep and there's nothing? If you got law enforcement that will vote for someone like this, we don't even stand a chance for a traffic stop half the time. But yet they could, in good conscience, go ahead and back and endorse a law enforcement agency and endorse a felon for the presidency of the United States. That's how deep it is. And by the way, Michael Vick, he didn't really have anything to do with the cruelty of the animals. All he did was finance it. But they still treat him like less than garbage.
No, good call. I think you're onto something. In fact, Greg, I will take you up on this. Next week, I'll give you a prelude to next week's lessons. We are going to revisit who supported this commander in sleep. Back the Blue gave an entire initiative, the Fraternal Order of Police. Even despite him sicking his maggots to attack them, they still backed him. 34 convicted felon, adjudicated sexual abuser. You know, the list goes on and on, not to mention all of the financial calamity and all of the people he hurt, whether you enrolled at Trump University, you were black and he didn't let you stay in the building, or you were black facing at the casino and he fired you because he didn't want a black man to be the first thing the white folks saw before they walked into the casino, even though the casino folded. House always wins. The nightmare of what I'm expounding upon only exasperates how did we get here? All because, it's not because you didn't like her laughter, all because you couldn't see a woman in office, all because she was black or had black roots, or all because she was she. This is how we get here, America. Whatever the reason is, oh, well, she stood in solidarity with the war in Gaza. She was number 2, not number 1, but I can count. One thing I know about a number 2 is they don't outdo a number 1, and you follow suit if you still want to be number 2. How did we get here? You know, is the threat of the existence of black excellence worth going to war? Absolutely, clearly. Because we're outbirthing you. I know I didn't add it to the pool. I got 3 sons. We're outbirthing you. So the fear of you being obsolete by 2050 scares you. So if you can purge them all and force your women back to birthing, they rather cross state lines and die. They rather be hunted by bounty hunters and go to jail before they birth for you. And you still can't make them. So what do? You exploit children. You abuse children. We need to have these conversations because out loud around the globe, not only are they having it, their parliamentarian is responding to it, and their law enforcement is ensuring that they do something about it because they don't play with pedophiles across the pond. When we come back, Al, Tommy, Darlene, I see you on the live line, and I am going to weigh in on the chat. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey everybody, it's Melody Span Cooper. Over the past 2 weeks, as we covered the services honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson, we received an outpouring of calls, messages, and notes from so many of you. Your kind words about our coverage meant more than you know. For generations, this community has trusted WVON to be there for the moments that matter most. Your support, your listening, and your engagement remind us every day why what we do is so important. Thank you for allowing us to serve you, for sharing this historic moment with us, and for continuing to make WVON a place where our community stories, voices, and history are honored. We're Chicago's essential storyteller, and for that, we are truly grateful.
Hi, I'm LaShawn K. Ford, and I'm running for Congress because I see what's happening in our communities every day. I see young people struggling to find opportunity. I see seniors working harder just to make ends meet, and I see families feeling squeezed by rising costs while Washington stays distracted. This Trump administration has brought chaos and corruption instead of real solutions. We need leadership that listens and delivers. As a state legislator, I've spent years fighting for working families, seniors, and communities that too often get left behind. That record is why I'm endorsed by Congressman Danny K. Davis, former U.S. Senator Roland Burst, former Congressman Bobby Rush, former Secretary of State Jesse White, and the Speaker of the Illinois House, Chris Welch. Make your plan to vote, and on your ballot, punch 31, paid for by LaShawn K. Ford for Congress.
Financial freedom starts with access. Fifth Third Bank is breaking down barriers to banking with tools and programs that help you build credit, save, and grow. Our mission is simple: Empower every Chicagoan to move forward because economic mobility means opportunity. This is banking a Fifth Third better. Visit 53.com to learn more. That's 53.com. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-295-6576. 800-295-6576.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
Who is everyone supporting to be our next state rep? Democrat Asia Kearney, a lifelong South Side resident. Asia's ready to work with Governor Pritzker and fight back against Donald Trump. She's a union member, so you know she's backed by Illinois SEIU. They'll work together to bring down costs and create good-paying jobs. And Asia's a tireless advocate for good public schools. That's why Chicago Teachers Union, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and Cook County College Teachers Union are supporting her campaign. Community leaders like Commissioner Carrie Steele and Alderman William Hall support her because she's committed to keeping us safe. If you're ready to elect a leader who will work hard to bring down costs, strengthen our public schools, protect your rights, and focus on public safety, you need to be with Asia Kearney too. Cast your ballot for Asia Kearney by March 17th. American Future paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. AmericanFuture.org. Not authorized by Asia Kearney or any federal candidate or committee.
WVON Traffic and Weather now.
Traffic nice and light on the Ryan, the Bishop Ford, and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial each way. If you're on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, we're seeing pretty much low volumes of traffic there as well. The inbound Stevenson from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 35 minutes outbound, just fine. You're looking at just a 45-minute trip along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, outbound 30. The Kennedy, 35 in from O'Hare to downtown, getting to the airport, you're looking at about 30 minutes there. Turning sunny and pleasant, temperatures are expected to reach into the upper 40s. 47 is our official high. The National Weather Service says tonight down to 29. Currently, we're up to 37 at Midway. Bright skies and 37 in Woodlawn and 37 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:27. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. and he can't sleep at night. He's on the phone. And last I checked, your commander in sleep, he doesn't really sleep at night. He is not tweet. He's not on X. He's on his platform, Truth Social, telling all of his heart's confessions to the world. And we're talking about the Epstein files. And when you look at Epstein, he down my timeline. I know he's down yours. He's the talkative dead man in 2026, 25, 24. He's been talking a long time. I've been dead for nearly 15 years. No, it is exactly 15 years, not nearly. The phone lines are yours, 773-591-1690. Let's talk to Al. Al, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hey, Miss Cleopatra. You are correct. The files are out, but they read like the National Enquirer or one of those magazines you would see when you're pushing groceries through at the Jewels that you would pick up and only glance at. I don't know if there's a lot of appetite to digest 1 million pages of filth and allegations. Well, they're cutting off body parts, they drinking blood, they killing kids. After a certain point, people will tune out from that. That's just my thoughts.
No, I appreciate that. It is very disturbing, extremely graphic. I don't even watch horror films. So to let you know that this is one of the wildest things I've ever read or tried to digest in my life, and I don't consume it a lot. I process just enough, not only to have the elevated conversations with you all, but to understand. I was just looking at something, and Darlene and Tommy, I want you to hold tight because I needed to read this. I saved it because I want you all to understand the dangers that are around the corner of how deep these files are. Some say she needs protection. Others say if she would have been transparent about the Epstein files, she wouldn't need it. Attorney General Pam Bondi has quietly relocated from her Washington, D.C. apartment to a military base in the area. The New York Times reported on March 10th, federal law enforcement flagged threats from drug cartels, escalating from the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in January, and from people angry over her handling with the Jeffrey Epstein files. The base location and rent status remained undisclosed. She is not alone. The New York Times notes that the Trump administration is the first to take widespread advantage of taxpayer-funded military housing to accommodate political appointees without direct military ties. For example, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Lil Marco, Advisor Stephen Miller, outgoing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth have been similarly relocated. The Epstein angle adds further pressure. The House Oversight Committee voted 24-19 to subpoena Bondi, a rare bipartisan rebuke, with 5 Republicans joining Democrats over the DOJ's handling of the Epstein files. I want you all to let it marinate. I want you all to hold tight. When we come back, I am revisiting our commitment that is ongoing, justice for Romecca Meeks-Blackman. We've done exclusive coverage right here on the Cleopatra Show, and I just love her mother. Tina McMiller will join me on the other side of this break. You don't want to miss this update. We'll be back.
Bright, beautiful skies in Chicago as temperatures climb in the upper 40s. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. Primary day is Tuesday, and the deadline to vote by mail is today. Meanwhile, be sure to keep it locked all day long to WVON 1690 AM for wall-to-wall live team coverage of primary election day this Tuesday, March 17th. WVON will report live from some of the hottest races in town, as well as provide comprehensive analysis live in studio. Well, the Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to end the temporary protected status for roughly 350,000 Haitians now living in the United States. The administration put in an emergency request to the Supreme Court on Wednesday. The Justice Department has also asked to end the temporary protected status designation for Syrians. An Illinois lawmaker wants to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. State Representative Cam Buckner introduced a proposal yesterday as House Bill 5726. It would rename the section of the Ryan from 95th Street to 47th Street Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Memorial Highway. Buckner says it's appropriate because originally the Ryan was a racial dividing line in the city and that the Reverend dedicated his life to working to create equality. The civil rights icon passed away last month. He was 84. Well, Governor Pritzker is on his way to join crews to assess storm damage in Kankakee County. The National Weather Service confirmed that one of the twisters that touched down in Illinois and Lake Village, Indiana, was an EF3 tornado with peaks of wind of around 150 miles per hour. 2 people died in Indiana, a husband and a wife, both in their 80s. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 10:33.
Who is everyone supporting to be our next state rep? Democrat Issa Kearney, a lifelong South Side resident. Asia's ready to work with Governor Pritzker and fight back against Donald Trump. She's a union member, so you know she's backed by Illinois SEIU. They'll work together to bring down costs and create good-paying jobs. And Asia's a tireless advocate for good public schools. That's why Chicago Teachers Union, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and Cook County College Teachers Union are supporting her campaign. Community leaders like Commissioner Carrie Steele and Alderman William Hall support her because she's committed to keeping us safe. If you're ready to elect a leader who will work hard to bring down costs, strengthen our public schools, protect your rights, and focus on public safety, you need to be with Issa Kearney too. Cast your ballot for Issa Kearney by March 17th. American Future paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. AmericanFuture.org. Not authorized by Issa Kearney or any federal candidate or committee.
Hi, I'm Richard Boykin, and I want to be your next congressman in the 7th Congressional District. I have a record of standing up to bullies like Donald Trump. I will lower costs for working families and seniors, create more jobs, and make our streets safer. As a Cook County Commissioner, I'm proud to have helped expand healthcare coverage. I sponsored the bill to eliminate the tax on feminine hygiene products. You can count on me to fight to keep the cost of healthcare down by restoring the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP. Now is the time. Punch 39. Richard Boykin. Paid for and authorized by Richard Boykin for Congress.
It's Cleopatra Draper.
It is very dangerous that a few elites own our media. Information is so controlled right now. You have to go online actually to get the truth.
Or come to WVON as we do every morning.
Exactly, WVON.
Middays at 9 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Cancer is not your friend. Early screening can save lives. So being too busy, too scared, or too lazy to get screened just doesn't make good sense. This Saturday on the Community Health Focus Hour, host Dr. Edwin McDonald will tackle the truth about colorectal cancer, what you need to know, how screenings work, and why taking action matters for you and your loved ones. Listen on WVON and Facebook Live. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of UChicago Medicine at the forefront.
This report is sponsored by Aleve. Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches and pains hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Volume remains pretty light along the Ryan. We're still seeing some minor delays, though, in those usual spots. Slow from 43rd Street to Roosevelt Road. Otherwise, you're looking at an 18-minute trip from 95th Street into downtown. Outbound just fine. Things look good along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Air Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. If you're on the Stevenson, still just about a 35-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive. Outbound, no problems there. A 45-minute trip along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle. Some minor delays from Des Plaines to Damon. Outbound, a 30-minute trip. The Kennedy still moving along at 35 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. Getting to the airport, give yourself just about 30 minutes. Grab your sunglasses. Bright skies today, lots of sunshine. Temperatures are expected to climb in the upper 40s. The National Weather Service says we're headed to a daytime high of 47. It's 37 at O'Hare, 37 in Woodlawn, and 37 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:37, and we're waiting for Miss McMiller. To God be the glory. I can't imagine, so I don't want to unpack the story just yet. We're waiting to get in contact with her. Meanwhile, in the chat, and Tommy, I see you. I want you to hold tight. As I promised some of the listeners, I'll look into the chat. Good morning, everybody. It's a lot of y'all today, and I appreciate it. Be sure to like and share the show. I see. I was looking at Renee Creswell. I see Quintella. I see MC Robinson. MC Robinson said we need to shut it all down and start it all over again. I agree, but I'm worried about those that are just opportunists. You see them a mile away. In fact, I smell them before I hear them. And I think like that sometimes when it comes to the Constitution. That was written in an era at a time where we are worlds apart. We truly are. And the evolution has not caught up to the ability to ratify or to make changes. So the lopsidedness, the whole structure of this corporation that we call America it has me extremely concerned. But if the bottom is going to fall out, it's going to fall out regardless, because I do believe in inevitability, right? It is inevitable. If you are a part of the fold of the calamity, the carnage of the Epstein Chronicles and the abuse and rape and exploitation and trafficking of children, girls, boys, people, that is enough to throw away the baby and the bathwater. So yes, MC, I agree with you, but those that wait at the opportunity for America to collapse is what gravely concerns me. Let's talk to Tommy. Tommy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
It is again, I hit these airwaves and I say to each and every one of you, you see, wisdom. Wise people don't need it, and fools won't heed it. And a poor man's wisdom is despised. But it didn't say that it was not used. And the very fact that you have living proof of every word that I have spoken to the WVON audience is true. From the landing of the Black Hawk helicopter in California, to me telling you the closer we get to the midterm elections, all hell is going to break loose. Never in my wildest imagination, because I want to be crystal clear that I think that it will end up with the precious blood of the individuals who serve and protect this country, who obey their oaths, now being put into a situation of harm's way to protect what? To achieve what? And yet this country is still embroiled in the simple narrative to the individuals who look like us called Skip You. Now, I know this might make you feel uncomfortable. I know you may get in your emotions. I know you may feel like this is a moment and a time that someone needs to talk respectful to you, but respectfully. Anytime a person of culture will not accept the narrative of what they say, not what you say, the hell with what you feel, but it's definitely about what you know. Now, if you don't understand the absolute danger in cutting off people's food and having a society that is no longer adhering to so-called law and order, thank God for this radio station. It's up to you, Cleo. Reverend ain't dead. He didn't pass away. I didn't go to no memorials. I cried. because I lived this history with this man and was dumb as a box of rocks. I need you to understand. I don't want anybody to believe in 1 second that, oh, I understood. I did not care until I went over there and saw what these individuals will do if they feel and believe and think that, hey, skip you, they don't give a damn about none of us. And they prove it by the simple fact, as I close, look what they did to their own. They took an individual and turned their entire lifestyle around and got you to believe that somehow or another they were a criminal when the facts of the matter said from your eyes to your brain, that's a lie. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Tommy. I appreciate when Tommy has an opportunity to get it off his chest. That's right. Get her done, Tommy. Like, I mean, he's speaking the truth. And I will forever remember Jonathan's powerful speech, Congressman Jonathan Jackson, but I knew him before he was congressman, but Professor Jackson. In other words, run, Jesse, run. Rise, Jesse, rise. So, no, he may not be with us physically. Oh, but everything we touch and everything we do, the fight is real. Never surrender. You know, so if you know something about it, I look forward to sharing this with you all this Saturday at the national headquarters for the Rainbow Push Coalition. I will be co-moderating alongside Reverend Stephen Thurston. And I think the world of Stephen. I've had him on. I think his voice is powerful, and I thank God for it. And of course, our CEO, Yusuf Jackson, will be there as well. And I hope that you all come on over to Push. And what I'm saying is push on to push. And one thing you need to remember about Push, it is best to support and give to Push before you need it. Right? I think that this is an amazing opportunity and celebration for Women's Month and the remembrance of keeping hope alive for the late, great Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, saying that you all come on back. Don't just push through the view. Come on back to serve. And I'm a woman of my word, and I will be there Saturday, and I hope that you all join us, right? So I need to send this to Candace now that I'm thinking about it. We'll put it on our WVON platform. You're seeing it on Push's platform. I just want to give you all an exclusive little tea. Is that the same Cleopatra? Yes, it's me. So I'll be co-moderating alongside Reverend Thurston. I look forward to the opportunity as we continue to ignite the flames of all of the wonderful things that are happening out of Push. It is something, as Sonya's already putting it up. Who emailed it? You know, the things that I don't know about, but the point is, there's so much to continue to work and build upon, right? So I'm gonna put it on the StreamYard real quick. Sonya's put it up for me. Thank you so much, Sonya. Ultimately, it is Women's Month, and it is a great opportunity of service. I'll also drop it in the chat. I can put it in the chat as well, so you all can share it. Don't just come because there was a funeral, because there was a homegoing, because there was a great man that walked amongst us. Continue to come because he did walk amongst us and fought with us and served with us for 60 plus years of his life. And the work must continue. Every generation has to fight for their freedom. And it does not stop because we buried a great man. In fact, we have to continue to push on the push because we buried a great man. But we didn't bury our ideas and our beliefs and our values and our fire. I spent today expounding upon the wickedness that walks amongst us, that have laughed at the taunt and torture of Black folk, hunted Black boys, 5 of whom Black and brown. And even after they were exonerated, he still continues to taunt them as they were subject to be abused as children in that hellhole we call a penitentiary. So this is why you fight. Pick something of the fight. While you're looking for a good hair on that devil's head, you better find something of goodness to fight for if you believe. But some of us, it's as though the cancer that has infected this world has infected you to believe there's no good, nothing worthy to be saved, not even the child that is yet to be born. How is that possible? Where is the humanity in that? So I implore you all, join me. I told you I'll be there. I gave you the prelude. Now I'm spilling the tea. Come on back to push. If you don't have a home to serve and do community work, this is the opportunity. If you're trying to figure out, well, how can I organize or what can I do? Come on and dig in the toolbox. Come on back home. Too many of you all tell the stories of how it used to be. Used to be don't make no honey. So when somebody starts a sentence like that with me, I think about a real close friend of mine, big support of me, worked alongside me, and she's quick to say it. Used to bees don't make no honey. And bees got to eat too. So if you used to be in a building, change your verbiage to come on back and be in the building and be ready to serve. I'll see you Saturday right here on the 14th of March for our Saturday morning forum in tribute to Women's Month. This is March, and this is what we're doing. When we come back, I'll take your calls and more, because this relocating of Pam Bondi expounds upon a lot of things for me, right? First of all, we paying for it. Secondly, why are they looking for you if you haven't done anything? And thirdly, what's going to happen to Noam and them? Now that she's special envoy, are you still going to pay her rent to America? We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I've worked 60 years paying into Social Security so I can retire with dignity. But now I hear Trump and the Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare, and it keeps me up at night. That's why I am for Donna Miller for Congress. Donna strengthened protections for seniors, and she'll bring that same respect to Washington. I trust Donna.
I'm Donna Miller. I approve this message because seniors deserve the dignity and respect they've earned.
Paid for by Donna Miller for Congress.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment, coming to WVON beginning Saturday, March 21st at 12 noon. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing the work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work, because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-295-6576. 800-295-6576.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, The Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still nice and light along the Ryan, down to the posted speed as you make your way from 95th Street into downtown and back again. Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, the Bishop Ford, base travel times there as well. We're seeing light volumes of traffic along DuSable Lakeshore Drive as well. No problems to report. The inbound side of the Stevenson in from I-355 to DuSable Drive, 35 minutes, still 30 on the outbound trip. Still looking at just about 35 minutes along the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle with the usual delay from Des Plaines to Damon. Otherwise, outbound 30 minutes. And the Kennedy, not bad. It's 35 there as well from O'Hare to downtown, 30 getting to the airport. Bright, beautiful skies. The National Weather Service says temps are going to climb near 50 today. 47 is our official high. Currently, we're up to 38 at Midway, 38 in Orland Park, and 38 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lornoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:54, and apparently we have an updated flyer that's going to come up. So I'm going to take this one down. Yes, I'll be broadcasting with the Rainbow Push Coalition at the national headquarters right here in the city of Chicago, alongside Reverend Stephen Thurston, who is brilliant, and our very own CEO, Yusuf Jackson of Push. And I am pushing folks on the push. And my effort to recommit myself in a special way, I did just have my third baby, but, I've always been committed. But in terms of availability, if I can sacrifice, you can too. You'll never hear me say, well, my children, da, da, da. In fact, folk make excuses for, well, because you're a mom, and I know what I am. And if I don't make excuses for mine, you ought not either. My daddy used to tell me, you got the same 24 hours I got. It's what you do with it, right? So I am imploring us in the moment where all of these things are happening at once, there's an opportunity for us to build wealth, cohesion, establish our schools, secure our community, take the insecurity out and secure the measures, whether it's food, housing, medical. While there is chaos around us, we can find cohesion amongst us. I am a believer of that. And for those that don't believe, move. Find a place where, if they like the streets dirty, go live over there. If they don't care about children being able to read and schools functioning, go see your child that way. There are Black people that care. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. There are Black people that know that we deserve. That's who I want to be my neighbor. So when you think about the vessel, Push is more than enough room. It's plenty of work to go around. Amen. So I want you all to push on a push Saturday. We will update the flyer. We'll have it back up at 11 o'clock because we have some special guests. And apparently I get to meet some amazing cousins that have a talent, and they're going to be hanging out with us at Push. I want to talk about that. Meanwhile, in the chat, and Tommy, I see you in the chat as well. We're going to go back as we wrap up our conversation. We're going to put a button on it. Miss McMiller is not available today, and she will be traveling this week. When I have an opportunity, I anticipated an update from her, just to let you all know about the woman, the individual, because she's not a lady, that murdered her daughter, is in custody. And I just wanted an update so as we can keep the temperature. But I don't want to speak for Miss Miller. So when the time is available, we are currently rescheduling her as we speak. I want to put a button on this Epstein conversation through Patricia Watson and Clifton. Patricia says, those sexually attracted to children, the young, meaning teenagers, cannot be cured. We can diagnose them, put them on chemicals, and try and suppress their proclivities. But like narcissists, they cannot be cured. We have to ID them and protect society, especially our children and teens from them. I think you make some interesting points that I would like to bring up at another class session, because ultimately it begs the question, like, what do you do with them? And for me, I'll never forget, as I was finishing my work on my master's degree early on, I was told that I would have to be able to consultate or counsel or engage in therapeutic sessions and or treatments with all kind of people. And I stopped the professor right there. I said, I do not engage with all kind of people. And the professor asked me, well, what do you mean? I said, I do not engage with anything that is of deviant or sexual aggression or behavior or abuse with children or people. That is not my forte. I am not interested in indulging in said conversation. And the professor said, well, our expectation is that you will have to be able to counsel any and everybody. And I said, well, that isn't even possible, because humanly, we can't say what we can commit to, especially when you know deeply you're unable to. So I still earned my master's and to this day a Jane Addams scholar, but I stopped the buck right there when it comes to predators. And it's not that I am deeply rooted with what Patricia's saying. I don't know if there's a cure for them. I really don't know, because what I've seen in the research is that they're repeat offenders. Okay, so ultimately, I am of the mindset of, what do you do with them? Where do they go? How do you relocate them? Right? And then some would say, well, that's cruel. Or you can do the homework and figure out that they too were abused, and that was cruelly done to them, and now they become the abuser. So this vicious cycle is only led to be susceptible to harm another. So I went down this pathway and I just removed myself. So I'll be interested, Patricia, to have this conversation openly, and we can do it next week, because this is such a heavy conversation, which is why I wanted you to put a button on it. When we come back, I have some sisters, 3 beautiful sisters, that are not only going to join me on the Cleopatra Show, but I get to spend time with them at the Saturday morning forum at the Rainbow Push Coalition. You do not want to miss to who they are and all the gifts that they're going to bring. We'll be back.
38 degrees, but a plenty of sunshine on this Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I'm Anna Flournoy, and in the headlines, Ravinia announced its 2026 concert season lineup today, with artists including none other but Chicago's own Chance the Rapper. An Illinois lawmaker is proposing a bill to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. And primary election day is this Tuesday. Be sure to keep it locked all day long to WVON 1690 AM for wall-to-wall live team coverage of primary election day, Tuesday, March 17th. WVON will report live from some of the hottest races in town, as well as provide comprehensive analysis in studio. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, WVON 1690 AM, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11:02.
Here's BIN News Now. Longtime Congressman Benny Thompson has won Mississippi's Democratic primary, easily defeating Black 34-year-old challenger Evan Turnage.
I'm running for Congress because I am done waiting for Washington politicians to fix what they've broken.
The 78-year-old is now poised to secure his 18th term in the safely Democratic 2nd District. Human Rights Watch says armed drones used by Haitian security forces and private contractors killed at least 1,200 people and injured more than 700 between March 2025 and January 2026. The UN Human Rights Chief says the force used against gangs likely violates international law. And Netflix is giving a first look at its new series, Man on Fire, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as former Special Forces mercenary John Creasy. The show follows Creasy's fight with PTSD. Man on Fire premieres April 30th. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Terry McCready.
Outdated intelligence is believed to be the reason why the U.S. military mistakenly struck an elementary school in Iran.
We've knocked out their Navy, their military in all forms. We've knocked out just about everything there is, including their leadership. Twice. We knocked out twice their leadership.
According to a preliminary investigation by the Pentagon, the military relied on old data that misidentified the school as part of an adjacent Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps naval base. The outdated information was provided by the Defense Intelligence Agency to U.S. Central Command officers. The strike resulted in the deaths of at least 168 children and 14 teachers, as well as sparked widespread concern and criticism. The FBI has reportedly warned California police about Iran targeting the West Coast to retaliate for U.S. attacks on the country. That's according to ABC News, which cited an alert it reviewed. The alert issued at the end of last month said the FBI had information about Iran wanting to launch unmanned drones in a surprise attack in the event of U.S. strikes. It went on to say the threat was specifically against unspecified targets in California. The warning was issued just as the U.S. and Israel launched their strikes on Iran. Meanwhile, senators from both sides of the aisle and witnesses sounding the alarm over the national debt during a Senate Finance Subcommittee hearing yesterday. The concern is for future generations of Americans paying the price for bloated budgets. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projected last month the federal budget deficit will balloon from $1 trillion this year to over $3 trillion by 2036. CBO projections are that the deficit will be 5.8% of the country's gross domestic product this year. The Black former mayor of Dalton, Illinois, is running as a Republican in Georgia for Fulton County Commissioner. Tiffany Henyard is vying to represent southern portions of the county in District 5, and there are 4 Democratic opponents.
I do not like dictatorship. I do not like a hostile takeover.
Henyard sounding off after losing the caucus for Thornton Township Supervisor 2 years ago. She was the first woman to serve as mayor of the Chicago suburb and first woman to serve as supervisor there. Her mayoral term was mainly under a dark cloud, and she faced constant scrutiny. A financial probe uncovered the municipality's bank account was over $3.5 million short. She isn't facing any charges currently, but remains under federal investigation for mishandling taxpayer dollars as Thornton Township Supervisor. Her campaign in the Peach State could be a flash in the pan, as county records show she hasn't lived there in over a year, which is a requirement for candidacy. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow VIN News this hour wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
This is Commissioner Larry Rogers, here to tell you about my friend Judge Michael Cabanargi. For years, I worked side by side with Michael to fix our property tax system and protect homeowners. We can trust Judge Michael Cabanargi. That's why he is endorsed by the Democratic Party and has the highest bar rankings in the race. Judge Cabanargi is the only candidate with judicial experience, and he deserves our vote on March 17th.
Paid for by Friends of Cabanargi.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Moment, coming to WVON beginning Saturday, March 21st at 12 noon. WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Moment to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and
Dior.
in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing it quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region, and more importantly, the solution.
Marva, we are on Make It Here.
And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/Meeting the Moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Health for moms, care for children, and wellness for families. That's PCC Community Wellness Center, right here in your neighborhood. We walk alongside you through every stage of life, from prenatal care, midwifery, and doula support, to family medicine, dental care, specialty services, parenting guidance, and even nurse home visits. Because your care should feel personal, supportive, and close to home. PCC Community Wellness Center, because strong families build healthy communities. Schedule your appointment today at pccwellness.org or call 708-383-0113. Funding provided in whole or in part by the Illinois Department of Human Services.
Chantel Franklin knows the struggle because she's lived it. As a child, she didn't always have a home to go to, changing schools constantly, struggling to get by. But she turned her troubles into triumph. She's dedicated her life to making sure no other children fall through the cracks. Chantel Franklin helped deliver for us in the Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office, defending our rights and pushing back against Donald Trump's harmful policies. Now, Chantel is running for the State House as a Democrat to keep fighting for us. Chantel will work to make housing more affordable and accessible, so no child grows up facing housing insecurity like she did. And Chantel will stand up to Donald Trump's harmful policies, including his ICE raids whenever they try to attack our neighbors. Vote for Chantel Franklin by March 17th. That's Chantel Franklin by March 17th. American Future paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. AmericanFuture.org. Not authorized by Chantel Franklin or any federal candidate or committee.
The movement for repair is growing, from city halls to parliaments and around the world, from Chicago to Cape Town, from Evanston to the UN. I'm Robin Rusin.
And I'm Cam Howard. Together we're bringing you Reparations Now, where we talk power, policy, and progress, local, national, and international.
It's about justice.
It's about repair. It's about time.
Reparations now, because justice cannot wait.
Reparations Now, Saturdays at 4 p.m. only on WVON 1690.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to ExpressPros.com to find your location. That's ExpressPros.com.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still nice and light across the board, starting with the Ryan, that inbound trip from 95th Street to downtown. You'll move along at the posted speed. As you make your way along Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, nothing there. Along the Bishop 4, we are seeing just a few brake lights right around 115th Street as you make your way to the Stony Island feeder. Otherwise, just fine. Moving along to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, things look pretty good there. If you're on the Stevenson, we're still looking at about a 35-minute trip from I-355 to DuSable Drive, outbound just fine. The inbound side of the Eisenhower from Thorndale to the Burns Circle, 35 still, 30 on that outbound trip. And the Kennedy, in pretty good shape. 35 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, making your way to the airport, 30 minutes. Taking a look at our weather. Bright, beautiful skies today. The National Weather Service says temps are climbing to near 50. 47 is our official high. Then dropping back down to 29 tonight. It's 38 at Midway, 38 in West Inglewood, and 38 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Voting is power, and power doesn't wait in line. Early voting is underway in all 50 wards throughout Chicago and throughout Cook County. WVON, vote.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
There's a place in heaven prepared for me when the toils of this life is over. Where the saints are clothed in white.
And we are back here listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:13, and I have some special guests with me. You hear that beautiful voice, Chicago's own Jennifer Hudson, and she's singing "There's a Place Prepared for Me." And what I wanted to do was prepare a special segment for the three. You see three phenomenal Black women on the stage with me. They're known as the Nickel Sisters. They are cousins to Jennifer Hudson, and might I add, they taught her how to sing, because she don't sing, she sang. Who I have in the StreamYard with me is Reverend Shari Nichols Sweat, Pastor Krista Nichols Alston, and Evangelist Marva Ruth Nichols. Thank you, ladies, for joining me on the Cleopatra Show. How are you?
We're great.
We're great. Great this morning.
Yeah.
Amen, amen. And on top of that, I not only do I have to have the privilege to have you on my show, I'll get to have you also on Saturday morning at the national headquarters right here in the city of Chicago for the Rainbow Push Coalition. Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely. That is exciting. And everybody needs to come out. Everybody should be there. Everybody was all geared up last week. They wanted to be at the services for the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Well, just continue in that same spirit and let's pack the house on Saturday morning.
Did you hear that, guys? Keep that same energy. That
Same
same
energy.
Same.
So listen, ladies, I about fell out the chair when I learned to who was responsible for helping to nourish this voice, because God gifted it to her, and I believe you all just helped nourish it. And that was the best way I wanted to contextualize it. I don't know if would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would agree with that because God is the giver of all gifts. And whatever talents we have, abilities, God gifted each of us with that. But then he leaves it into our hands to develop. And so one of our assignments was to help develop this beautiful young lady that have made Chicago proud and this nation proud.
And I thank God for all of you all, because here it is for Women's Month. We are coming together for something special. You all are the Nichols sisters. How did you all come to be known as just that? Where did that come from? I know it's the last name, but you know, I was a Watson, and you got to have some talent to have this trifecta. So who's going to explain the talent amongst the three?
Well,
you go ahead, Krista.
Well, I'm going to give you the mantle in a minute. My mother started us in my older sister singing a cappella to go around with my father, the late great Reverend Howard S. Nichols Sr. And so Marva and I were, the youngins in the house. And so when we got older, we joined the group. So we started with our mother. And so Sherry, I'm going to leave it right here so you can pick up there.
Yes. Well, we started out as the Nickel Singers because my mother started the group and she was the head of the group. And it evolved from there when her health began to fail her, that we began to sing as the Nickel Sisters. And so from that point, we were singing and we were singing mightily, and we've been some of everywhere singing. So we just thank God for the opportunity to develop our gifts. And it started in the home first. And this is something that people miss nowadays. It starts in your home and then it went to the church. And that's how it started for all of us. Jennifer, the Nickel sisters, and Krista was actually the first person to help develop Jennifer, and that was in the junior and youth choir at the Pleasant Gift Missionary Baptist Church. And so that's where she got her start. And the Nickel sisters grew up in there, and we just have had a wonderful, wonderful singing career through the church.
Well, amen, amen. And for those that are listening, please let us know to who you are now. You've identified Crystal. Who are you?
This is what
Marva. Okay.
Marva. Yeah, that's
I'm
Marva.
Marva. I'm the baby girl. Mm-hmm.
And I'm Reverend Sherry. I'm Sherry Nickel Sweat.
And who's the oldest?
I am.
Oh, I can. I didn't want to point you out, but I can tell. Okay, when we come back, we're gonna toss the mic to Evangelist, the baby, as she's affectionately identified her own self. And when we come back, I think that is rich. What you're saying, your mother established a foundation, recognized that her children had talent, and nourished it, and you all have continued it, and you shared your ability to nourish the gift. Vocal coaching isn't easy. And I want you all to speak to that. And it's not that I can sing. And I know Jennifer Hudson can sing, so I will not convince myself nor Sonia now that we're going to learn today, because you got to have the talent first. And although I'm absent of it, I know what good singing and singing is. Amen. When we come back, I got the Nickel sisters with me, and they're going to be with me on Saturday too. And there's an assignment for us all to push on the push. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hello, this is Congressman Danny Davis, and I want to tell you why I'm supporting Tony Preckwinkle for Cook County Board President. When Donald Trump targeted our community and deployed mass ICE agents onto our streets, Tony fought back, barring ICE from county buildings, especially our hospitals, and with Governor Pritzker, defeated Trump in court. Tony has also taken on the financial pressure facing our families. She led the effort to eliminate medical debt in Cook County, work that has now erased $1.5 billion for our residents. For 15 years, she's balanced the county budget without raising property taxes, expanded health care to more than 400,000 people through county care, and invested hundreds of millions of dollars in community safety and small business. That's why I'm with Tony. I'm Congressman Danny Davis. Join me, Governor Pritzker, and so many others across Cook County in supporting Tony Preckwinkle for County Board President.
Paid for by Preckwinkle for President.
When your body needs real nourishment, don't settle for ordinary supplements. At the Aloe Shop, we believe wellness starts with nature. That's why our premium aloe and nutritional products are crafted with the highest standards, pure, potent, and made to support your health from the inside out. From digestion and energy to immune support, the Aloe Shop helps you feel your best every day. The Aloe Shop at 117 East 95th Street in Chicago. Call 866-256-3747 or reach us online at thealoeshop.com. Come on in and get healthy. Now available at Living Fresh Market in Forest Park and at Pete's Market throughout Chicagoland.
Since 1985, Solo Beauty has been Chicago's home for beauty, culture, and confidence. From locks to curls, find all your favorite brands. Luster Pink, TGIN, Talia Waheed, plus local favorites like Tress Organics, Lock Bay, and Black Panther. When you shop Solo, you support Black jobs, Black business, and Black beauty. Visit us at 8158 South Cottage Grove or 9011 South Ashland, or shop online and on DoorDash. And don't forget to tune in Tuesdays at 9 p.m. for the Black Hair Care Business Talk Show on WVON. Shop Solo, shine together.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-295-6576. 800-295-6576.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, Chicago, this one is for you. Join OG Mr. Rick for the OG Culture Report every Thursday night from 9 to 12 right here on WVON 1690 AM. We're talking the culture, our stories, the streets, politics, entertainment, our struggles, our wins, and the voices that matter. Don't miss it. Every Thursday night, 9 to 12, the OG Culture Report with yours truly, OG Mr. Rick on WVON 1690. That's it. That's all.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Just because you think I might find somebody.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:24, and on the StreamYard with me, you all see the Nichols sisters. And I was about to ask evangelist Marva Ruth Nichols, who is the youngest of this wonderful trio. You know, what is it like to be a Nichols sister?
It's an amazing experience. When I was a child, I watched my older sisters and my mom sing at so many different programs, concerts, and I didn't really think I would ever be a member of the group. I didn't join, I think, until I was about 30 years old. They would always say, you need to come and sing with the group. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I've always kind of been like in the shadows of my siblings and my mom. But when my mom took ill, I took her place, and then they pushed me and they encouraged me to come alongside them and continue the legacy of singing with the group.
And I think that that's beautiful. I think it highlights for me how important it is to raise up good things, when children bear witness to good things and the aspiration. So then when you got real grown enough to come join the party, you came on over, right? Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
So, for those that are listening, the story to your cousin. Now, when we say cousins, you're going to have to break it down and make it plain real quick, right? I just made a phone call about my cousin this morning. Is this your mother's side or your father's side of the relation?
It's the mother's side. Jennifer's grandmother and our grandmother were sisters, and Jennifer's grandfather and our grandfather were brothers. So 2 Hudson brothers married 2
So did
Buckner
double
sisters.
cousins.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was only in my family. I was not today years old. I had my best friend with me, and we went to my cousin's mom's birthday party, and they're double related. So as I was explaining it, she had never experienced this. So 2 brothers fell in love with 2 sisters, and
Yeah.
that's the only cousins y'all got. I got that in my family too. Now, my mama went outside the ranch. She left the block and found my father. Amen. But I have a lot of cousins that are doubly related because I have a lot of family. But the point is that strand of that talent just kept on resurfacing. And that is where the singing ignited and you all were able to nurture it. I just wanted to draw the biological connection because I
Yes.
do believe that gifts can sometimes be genetically transferred.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
blessing
Yes.
because your mother sang. So I
Yes.
wanted to hear her mother sing.
Yes. And her mother sang and her grandmother sang. Her grandmother and my grandmother, their siblings, they had a group called the Buckner Harmony. So they had a singing group as well. So we grew up listening to them singing Don't Forget the Family Prayer, and other songs that are dear to our heart as a family. And so they were so close, they called each other sister cousins and brother cousins because they were double kin. But music is very, very much in our family. When we sing, when we come together, it's amazing to hear our tone and our sound. I can remember when Jennifer had David Jr.'s christening, and we were singing Don't Forget the Family Prayer at the Waldorf Astoria, and the room just filled with harmony and this rich tone, and that the servers and the staff at the hotel were in awe of our sound.
Well, one thing I know, the audience is going to be moved because I need you all to move on and keep hope alive by pushing back to push. Don't just
Yes.
push through push. And we can bear witness to this talent. Amen. Because you would think I had some layout of this genotype before me. The spirit is just moving through me because I understand talent. Like my mother said, my grandmother and grandfather had churches. And my grandmother was not afraid of no mic. Now my mother, not really a mic type. So she would say to me, I prayed that you would have a voice. I prayed that you would have my mother's talents if it skipped me. So
Right.
talking to you all, it let me know that the seed is strong and the voice is blessed. And those vocals are going to ring the halls of the national headquarters right here in Chicago. So push on the push. Come hang out with the Nichols sisters, myself. My co-moderator is Reverend Thurston, but our CEO, Yusuf Jackson, will bless the mic and bless all that is in it and through it as we continue our assignments and our fight to keep hope alive. I thank you all for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you all in person.
Oh,
Amen.
We do
And
as
one more
well.
thing. Hold on, one more thing. And we have singing on our father's side too, the Nichols. Claude Bubba Nichols was an original member of the Canton Spirituals. And so we have that from our father's side as well. I wanted to just make sure we
Make
put
sure
that
you
in.
add all. See, that's why I wasn't up singing for the world, but to whom much is given, much is expected.
That's
Yes.
right.
And one thing about it, you understand that gift you have, you're going to bless the world with. And everybody, I look forward to you all joining us Saturday. I thank you all for stopping by the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, we'll be back after this break.
Thank you.
Bright blue skies, lots of sunshine, temperatures climbing near 50. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Primary day is this Tuesday, and the deadline to vote by mail is today. Meanwhile, be sure to keep it locked all day long to WVON 1690 AM for wall-to-wall live coverage of the primary election day this Tuesday, March 17th. WVON will report live from some of the hottest races in town, as well as provide comprehensive analysis live in studio. An Illinois lawmaker wants to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. State Representative Cam Buckner introduced a proposal yesterday as House Bill 5726. It would rename the section of the Ryan from 95th Street to 47th Street, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Memorial Highway. Buckner says it's appropriate because originally the Ryan was a racial dividing line in the city. The civil rights icon passed away last month. He was 84. Well, earlier this week, former President Obama made it official. He made the announcement that the Obama Foundation would open this summer to mark the Juneteenth holiday. Now they're looking for ambassadors to serve. Perry Williams explains.
Nearly 100 ambassadors will be designated to interact with the public. The opening ceremony is scheduled for June 18th, and the Obama Center will be open to the public on June 19th. So far, 170 people have been hired and expect to start training for their assignments next week. For more information about volunteer opportunities, go to obama.org/volunteer/. I'm Perry Williams.
Ravinia announced its 2026 concert season lineup today, with artists including none other but Chicago's own Chance the Rapper. This year, they're debuting their new refurbished pavilion, now called the Hunter Pavilion, in honor of donors Maxine M. and Thomas B. Hunter III. The Ravinia Festival lineup also includes Ziggy Marley, Paul Simon, and Rod Stewart. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 11:33.
With your help, the Illinois Lottery generated $784 million for education last year. Play all your favorite Illinois Lottery games today to help raise even more. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 or older to play. Game odds available at IllinoisLottery.com.
Hi, I'm former Secretary of State Jesse White. And as a leader in government, I always focus on delivering the best possible results to the people. It took training, preparation, and teamwork to make it happen. That's why I'm asking you to join with me in supporting Pat Hines for assessor. He's been a professional assessor in and out of government his entire career. He worked in the Cook County Assessor's Office for over 20 years. He was elected as Lyons Township Assessor and considered one of the best. Pat serves the community as a volunteer firefighter. He will bring fairness to our community and to all of Cook County. He's fair, honest, and transparent. Now more than ever, we need Pat Hines training, experience, and professionalism. Vote Pat Hines, Democrat for assessor. Thank you.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
It's Matt McGill.
Man, I'm agitated by black people not understanding the moment that we're living in right now, as if we live in a post-racial America. And we're going to sit up here in a city like Chicago with the history of racism and bigotry and segregation. And we got nerve to complain about a black man some damn snow. In 1995, we had a heat wave. 739 people died in the city of Chicago. And guess what you Negroes did? Y'all reelected Mayor Daley 3 more times after that. Help me help you, or get out the freaking way.
Weekdays at noon on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This report is brought to you by Discover. Guess what? Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right. 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still nice and light on the roadways, especially the Ryan, moving along at the posted speed in both directions. Things look pretty good along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Right now, we are monitoring a situation in Cicero, though. There looks like to be an overturned truck right at 33rd Place and Cicero Avenue. You want to avoid that area if at all possible. Taking a look at our weather, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures climbing near 50 today. 47 is our official daytime high. The National Weather Service says tonight will dip down to around 29. Right now, we're up to 39 at O'Hare. It's 39 in Chinatown and 39 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm NF Lenoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 11:38. And listen, guys, you know, I've said it, and Lori was so gracious enough to put it together. So join me this Saturday for the Rainbow Push Coalition Saturday morning forum as we continue to celebrate Women's Month. It is that time. I'll be co-moderating the forum with Reverend Stephen Thurston II, and our keynote speaker will be Yusuf Jackson, our CEO of Rainbow Push. Together, we will be highlighting the leadership, courage, and contributions of women who continue to shape moments for justice and opportunity in our communities. Meet me at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters right here in Chicago at 930 East 50th Street. Doors open for breakfast at 8:30 and the forum begins at 10. I do hope to see you there. For more information, please be sure to visit rainbowpush.org. All right, guys, as I see you all in the chat, I want to thank the Nickel sisters for blessing us, and I look forward to meeting them in person with their story and connectivity. Like Jennifer Hudson, as my mother would say, that's their real cousin, especially when you got double cousin, that's just it. You know, you can't run on your daddy side and go talk about your mama's side because you're talking to the same people. So they really, really have to work through the growing pains of family. Amen. There's nowhere else you can run. And Lord knows I know something about it. That's why I'm glad my mama went and found my daddy that was not related to none of the families that my family have married into. I thank God for that. Now, we know that there's a primary coming. And the Illinois primary election is set for Tuesday, the 17th. And there's going to be some special announcements held right here as I think I heard Annette expounding upon some of the coverage we're going to have. But we're putting together special flyers so you know to who's going to do what and how we're going to make this happen. But the black magic is going to take catapult in a special way as we take to weigh in on a number of these races. But what isn't necessarily always talked about, and I peeked at it a little bit out of curiosity, as the governor. right? There are 4 candidates that are contending. They're competing to face off with our governor, Governor Pritzker, in November, the general. And of the 4, I have one with me. And what 4 might that be? We're talking about the Republican contenders that are going against the incumbent, right? So the incumbent is the governor, Governor J.B. Pritzker. And of the 4, we've heard the name Darren Bailey. He ran and he lost last cycle, and he's daring to challenge again. But alongside that is Rick Heidner. Rick Heidner identifies as a businessman, and he's going to expound upon to who he is and why folks should probably take out their pen and paper to learn more about him. So, Rick, thanks for joining and stopping by the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you so much, Cleopatra, for having me on. I really appreciate it immensely. Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my history, I'm a lifelong Illinoisan. I was raised by a single mother. My father left when I was 1 and my brother was 2. We never saw him again, and he never helped us. My mother was a maid and a hostess of her career, and it was like two weeks paid to pay 1 month's rent. So I basically really know what it is to come from very little means, and work my way up and build tremendous businesses. By the time I was 16 and a half, I was in my own business, still in high school. My brother and I started working at 6 and 7 years old with 2 paper routes before school, 2 paper routes after, from North Avenue to Armitage, 19th, 18th, 17th, both sides of the blocks. And then helping clean the apartment building. When I was 11, I moved to King Arthur Apartments, and my brother and I became maintenance people for school and all summer and all breaks, and tried to work about 2,000 hours each to make $3,000 a piece so that we could help my mom. Since then, I worked my way up. We have, as a family business, we have 4 major businesses. I have about 800 employees, and 280 buildings. I've had the passion for the real estate in 12 states with about 800 tenants. And I generate about $4 million a week in Illinois tax with all the businesses of all the generation of what we collect and earn for the state. And really, it's a rag to riches. It's American dream story, and that's what I'd like to bring to our beautiful state for our citizens, and give a lot of people hope and generate a lot of business for our state.
And I appreciate you telling us your story. I think that it gives a lot of inspiration for those that aspire, especially if they already have some shoes. Most of the folks we know didn't start with shoes. But as I look at your portfolio, I got to ask you a few questions. 280
Sure.
properties across 12 states. Are you a fair realtor? When you have your tenants, are you a fair landlord? Do you consider yourself fair?
Oh, absolutely. Being a tenant, when I started out, first I was a employee, and then I was, in my own business, and I was self-employed, and then I got employees. And then as a landlord, I was a tenant, so I really can resonate what it is to be a tenant. And I also, as a building owner, I can understand the real estate taxes and all the challenges, the mortgage payments, the roofs we have to put on, and all that. So I want to let you know I'm mostly a commercial.
Okay,
I'm not a
commercial.
residential guy. Yeah. I mean,
Okay, that's fair, because I hear you saying taxes, but when I heard 800 tenants, so commercial real estates. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I really don't have any residential because I was in business. I always focused on retail. Most of my stuff is storefronts, and not too much industrial and not too much office.
Got it. So, I'm glad you're talking about taxes, which is a sticking pain for anybody that is here in Illinois. Do you, when we talk about understanding the pain of Illinois, as a businessman, I know you have one hat, but as a resident, you wear another hat. but you are a contributor into our tax revenue as a major player with the industry and the wide swath of businesses you own and commercial spaces that you own. What's your plan to lower taxes here in Illinois?
Well, the first thing I want to do, Cleopatra, is walk in the office and tell everyone I do not want to raise any taxes. We will not raise one tax. We need to freeze everything, and then we have to take a look at everything. I want to go department by department by department and basically do an audit of each one. I want to see if there's any waste. I want to see if there's anything. We went from 37 to $38 billion budget when J.B. Pritzker came in, and we're at about $56 billion now. And, I really want to put a freeze on everything, and I want to take a look at everything. Then my plan is to really try to get businesses to come back to Illinois. We've lost so many wonderful businesses, and I want to bring them back. We might have to give some tax incentives, but we're only going to give back what they create. We're only going to give part of that back to entice them to come here and rebuild. And I really want to do everything I can to stop having companies leave our beautiful state, our beautiful city.
And I appreciate that. But when you said freeze, it took me back to a time of the leadership of Governor Ronner, where the nightmare of just the halting of the way that we do business stifled everything. And there have been many audits, as you well know, but the halt disrupted payroll, education, life as we know it in Illinois. So what makes you think that the freeze approach would be a good idea now in 2026?
Well, I'm not going to say we're not going to spend any money. I'm just saying I don't want to raise any taxes.
That's fair.
It was a different time then, Cleopatra. We had a super powerful speaker. Rauner and him did not get along. And I know for a fact that everything just was pretty much stopped for almost 3.5 years. And I saw, believe me, I work with charities. Shelter Inc. was one for over 3 years. They never got funded. We, privately, we had to help, people because, they waited and waited and waited. And I want you to know throughout my career, I've developed many, many buildings and many businesses in Illinois. I've worked with the Democrats. I've worked with the Republicans. I have a wonderful relationship with both sides. I'm able to work with both sides. I'm going to have an open door policy.
I want you to hold on, Rick. Rick, I'm up against a break. Yep. Hold on. So we are talking to the candidate, right? He is running for governor right here in Illinois, and he is flying under the banner as a Republican. But he's explicitly saying he's willing to cross the aisle and work with both sides if he was to be the contender to face off with the incumbent. That's right, Governor J.B. Pritzker. We're talking to Rick Heitner, businessman, and his portfolio is vast. When we come back, Rick, I have a few more questions as we're getting to know you, and I appreciate your time. Hold tight. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Illinois, we need to be able to trust our next senator. And Juliana Stratton isn't being honest about who she is. Stratton's massive super PAC is funded by the very contractor running the Broadview ICE Detention Center. ICE raids Chicago. Stratton benefits from ICE contractor cash. Juliana Stratton even got caught lying about refusing money from MAGA donors. We can't trust Juliana Stratton. Democrat Robin Kelly is a real progressive. Unbought, unbossed.
Outstanding members of the House of Representatives, Robin Kelly.
Barack Obama knows. Robin Kelly always fights for us. Lowering costs, raising wages, stopping gun violence. Real progressive Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate. Endorsed by the Congressional Black Caucus and elect Democratic women. Paid for by Protect Progress and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Protect Progress is responsible for the content of this advertising. www.protectprogresspac.com.
This Women's History Month, WVON celebrates the women who refuse to be silenced. This is Women Who Roar.
Speed has a sound. It's the sharp cut of steel on ice, the rush of wind, the quiet focus of an athlete chasing history. Aaron Jackson knows that sound well. A former inline skating champion turned Olympic speed skater, Jackson made history as the first Black woman to win Olympic gold in long track speed skating. But her journey to the top wasn't paved with decades of tradition. It was built with relentless discipline, courage, and belief. In a sport where few faces looked like hers, she didn't slow down. She accelerated. Every lap, every race, every finish line sends a message to young athletes watching from the sidelines. The ice belongs to them too. Her roar is velocity. It's determination. It's history in motion. Aaron Jackson doesn't just race the clock. She changes the pace of possibility. Aaron Jackson is a woman who roars.
From boardrooms to block clubs, these are the women who roar, an exclusive feature on WVON.
Hi, I'm LaShawn K. Ford, and I'm running for Congress because I see what's happening in our communities every day. I see young people struggling to find opportunity. I see seniors working harder just to make ends meet, and I see families feeling squeezed by rising costs while Washington stays distracted. This Trump administration has brought chaos and corruption instead of real solutions. We need leadership that listens and delivers. As a state legislator, I've spent years fighting for working families, seniors, and communities that too often get left behind. That record is why I'm endorsed by Congressman Danny K. Davis, former U.S. Senator Roland Burst, former Congressman Bobby Rush, former Secretary of State Jesse White, and the Speaker of the Illinois House, Chris Welch. Make your plan to vote, and on your ballot, punch 31, paid for by LaShawn K. Ford for Congress.
This Women's History Month, we honor a mother whose courage changed America. Mamie Till Mobley turned unimaginable grief into a movement for justice. Her strength helped ignite the civil rights movement. Experience her story in Trial in the Delta, The Murder of Emmett Till, extended for 7 shows only at Collaboration Theater. Step inside the courtroom. Stay for a powerful community conversation after every show. Come one, come all. Just don't miss it. Closing March 15th. Get tickets at collaboration.org. That's collaboration.org.
Hey everybody, this is Kendall Moore, The Kendall Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6 until 9 p.m. I get you from your work week to your weekend. Church, tabernacle.
Kendall Moore, radio for the next generation on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON.
Hello, this is Congressman Danny Davis, and I want to tell you why I'm supporting Tony Preckwinkle for Cook County Board President. When Donald Trump targeted our community and deployed mass ICE agents onto our streets, Tony fought back, barring ICE from county buildings, especially our hospitals, and with Governor Pritzker, defeated Trump in court. Tony has also taken on the financial pressure facing our families. She led the effort to eliminate medical debt in Cook County, work that has now erased $1.5 billion for our residents. For 15 years, she's balanced the county budget without raising property taxes, expanded health care to more than 400,000 people through county care, and invested hundreds of millions of dollars in community safety and small business. That's why I'm with Tony. I'm Congressman Danny Davis. Join me, Governor Pritzker, and so many others across Cook County in supporting Tony Preckwinkle for County Board President.
Paid for by Preckwinkle for President.
Robin Kelly grew up behind the register in her dad's grocery store, so she knows what it means when the same groceries cost more each week. Under Donald Trump, corporations get tax breaks, loopholes, and a green light to price gouge. Families get higher grocery bills, higher childcare costs, high healthcare premiums. It's Trump's economy. Corporate profits first, people last. In Congress, Robin Kelly's been fighting back. Robin took on insurance companies to lower drug costs. She wrote the law extending Medicaid for new moms to a full year because cutting care after 60 days was just wrong. And now Robin Kelly is running for Senate with a people over profits agenda. Medicare for all, so healthcare isn't a ripoff. Cap on childcare costs so families can work. and crack down on corporate price gouging so you're not punished at every turn. People over profits. Robin Kelly for U.S. Senate.
I'm Robin Kelly, Democrat running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Robin Kelly for Senate.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Volumes on the roadways remain nice and light as you make your way along the Ryan. No problems, no delays, although we are seeing a few brake lights northbound right around 18th Street as you make your way to Roosevelt Road. Otherwise, things are just fine. Nice and quiet along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Things look good on the Stevenson, the Eisenhower, as well as the Kennedy. Taking a look at our weather, things look good as well. We're looking at bright skies, temperatures climbing near 50 today. We're at 39 at O'Hare. It's 40 in Hyde Park and 40 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back, guys. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. We're hanging out with the candidate. That's right. Rick Heitner. He's running for governor here in Illinois. He's the Republican challenger that is vying against three others here in Illinois to take on the incumbent. The incumbent being Governor J.B. Pritzker. So, Rick, you had expounded upon, your background, your beginnings. I do want to uplift. What are you going to do for Illinois? What makes you the guy to transform where we're at? What will you do differently?
Well, what I really want to do, Cleopatra, and the main reason I'm running isn't even because of the business side of it. That's going to be very easy for me, to be honest with you. It's because I just couldn't stand to see so many people continually being hurt. So what I'd like to do the first day is eliminate the sanctuary state. And take the hardened criminal illegal immigrants and start to move those out of here, and especially the ones that are already in our jails. I
have to ask you, I think if you would let me expound upon that, you want to remove the hardened illegal aliens that are, the worst of the worst. And yet at the top of the ticket, they failed to do that. In fact, they've removed the hardworking, those that are walking their children to school, those that are paying taxes. So if the president of the United States can't find these hardened criminals, how can you do that as governor?
Well, here's the problem with that. So if we would have cooperated in the beginning, the ICE agents probably would have been out of here in 6 to 8 weeks.
But that's an assumption. But what we've seen in real life, beyond the probability. No, beyond the probability, because you said probably. But the reality is, for those that don't have sanctuary status, so let us not hide behind a title. They've failed at getting the hardened criminals. They've only been able to calculate where you work, where you live, where you go to school, and those that look like they fit the description, brown, black, or whatever the color may be, and speaks a foreign language. That's the only thing that I've seen. So the probability, we can't dwell in that. I'm asking you, if you were governor, what would you do different than your president?
Well, I would like to finish what I'm saying, if you don't mind. What I'm saying is because we didn't cooperate, the agents that are here, the only way that they could find these people is to what I call, they're sort of herding is what they're doing, HERDING. And if we were to turn them over, they wouldn't have to do that. The problem that happens, Cleopatra, is now they go into an establishment, they go into something, and if they're looking and investigating, they have to take the people that are undocumented because they don't have a choice. That's their job. So what happens is they can't look at you or me and say, oh, you look like a good person. You've been here for 15 years. You have a house. You have a family. We're not going to take you. But if we were to just turn over and help them find the ones that are really bad criminals, then they wouldn't have to do that. And
well,
that's
unfortunately, Rick,
I'm
out of time. I appreciate you expounding. I look forward to watching the results of the election. and definitely may have you back. I hope that things work out for you, and then I look forward to you being able to expound upon your platform if you are the successor out of the 4. So thanks for stopping by the Cleopatra Show. I really appreciate it. So listen, guys, we're up against a heartbreak. For those that have indulged us all week, Funny Clip Fridays is tomorrow, right? So I am coming in with some piping hot tea. Sonia and I are mixing the pot, and we're going to come in with something hot for you, right? So I want you all to lean in and look forward to us lightening the load. And don't forget, push on the push. I'll be co-moderating with Reverend Thurston and joined by our CEO of the Rainbow Push Coalition, that's Yusuf Jackson. Alongside that, we'll be joining company with the sisters that we just had, the beautiful sisters that were on the stage. They're going to sing and tear down the house. And not just because they cousin Jennifer Hudson. It's because they are the sisters that are going to sing us into glory and get us straight. Those are the Nickel sisters, right? Get us straight along the way as we continue to keep hope alive, never surrender, and lean in with your ears, because we're going to have more candidates that are going to appear. You don't want to miss this. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the Cleopatra Show.
Plenty of sunshine on this Thursday, March 12th, 2026. I'm Annette Flournoy, and in the headlines this hour, WVON's Cleopatra Draper talks exclusively to gubernatorial Republican candidate Rick Ridner, who wants to take on incumbent Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Primary day is this Tuesday. Be sure to keep it locked all day long to WVON 1690 AM for wall-to-wall live team coverage of primary election day. WVON will report live from some of the hottest races in town, as well as provide comprehensive analysis live in studio. In other news, an Illinois lawmaker is proposing a bill to name a portion of the Dan Ryan Expressway after the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, WVON 1690 AM, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 12:02.
Here's BIN News Now.
Longtime Congressman Benny Thompson has won Mississippi's Democratic primary, easily defeating Black 34-year-old challenger Evan Turnage.
I'm running for Congress because I am done waiting for Washington politicians to fix what they've broken.
The 78-year-old is now poised to secure his 18th term in the safely Democratic 2nd District. Human Rights Watch says armed drones used by Haitian security forces and private contractors killed at least 1,200 people and injured more than 700 between March 2025 and January 2026. The UN Human Rights Chief says the force used against gangs likely violates international law. And Netflix is giving a first look at its new series, Man on Fire, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as former Special Forces mercenary John Creasy. The show follows Creasy's fight with PTSD. Man on Fire premieres April 30th. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Here's Terry McCready.
Outdated intelligence is believed to be the reason why the U.S. military mistakenly struck an elementary school in Iran.